Okay, module 4, we are busy with implementing of the plans, the planning, the business. Okay, so we are on page 82. All right. With the introduction of to planning, we actually did quite a bit of this during the N4. So components of planning, that is what we
Boss, you can mute. We're on you.
Ooh, sorry, didn't you hear me? Okay, sorry, guys. Okay, so this is then the rest is then defining the personnel function. Also, this is just the outcomes that we are going to do in this semester. Also, adopting the business plan according to the set mission statements, explain the concept of managerial decision making, describe and develop a clear understanding of the different decisions that the manager makes, explain each of the decision styles, and indicate the circumstances in which the decisions were then made, and then describe and recognize the four personnel characteristics, and describe and recognize the four personal characteristics. So you will see now, oh, there's double the same thing, sorry. The last bit, name and explain the 7 steps of the problem-solving model, and then also understand the different techniques for developing an alternative solution, and also stimulating creativity and then the practical situations. All right. That's a lot, no? It's quite a long module. Okay, so the components, we're on page 83, components of planning. We've looked at the functions of planning that was then, or of any manager, of which planning is then one of it. Okay, so this is very important to plan to be successful. Now, you've heard this many times, no? Process of thinking what the business will be, and then also mapping out the way forward, and also organizing various activities to achieve your mission and objectives. Now, business guys, you are going to, and that is you guys now, no? You are going to learn more about mission statements, and we will also start with that in N6 next semester as well. Okay, so mission statement, please make sure that you understand it now. Then next semester will just be a breeze for you. All right, so let us go on. Mission statement for the business plan. Explain to the employees, also the customers and the owners or stakeholders, the reason for the purpose. So here you will include values and also the objectives. So these 3 things will then be helping you to set a proper mission statement. So include who the customers are, also what their needs are, and how this can be satisfied, the gap in the market. Huh? Okay, so characteristics. This is still on page 83. This is then quite important. Main characteristics that we are looking at is then states the purpose, values, and objectives, because that is the three that we're going to start on. Clearly state who the stakeholders are, the people who are investing in the business, defines the establish the identity of the company, short, clear, to the point, and also active, written in the present tense. This is what the mission statement would look like. Memorable, unique to the business, also motivational and positive, and excites and also inspires those who read this. This will then also include financial institutions, should you be in a situation that you want to borrow money. Then targeted, that is also stating how you aim to achieve your objectives. Then it is realistic. So obviously don't dream too big, or just start on a scale that is not achievable. Okay, I think we're gonna skip activity 4.1 for now. Then the very next important thing is then to establish the long-term objectives, page 85. So long-term objectives, this is then where you accomplish whatever in the next 5 years, or then 5 to 10 years in the future. So that is what you dream about. It comes from the vision and the mission statement, and that is then required in a time and also thorough planning. So you must always link time to any objective or goal that you have. After setting the long-term objectives, you work on the short-term objectives. So you start with the long-term objectives, and then you will implement that by planning short-term objectives as well. Okay, so how to write long-term objectives? This is then done by considering the mission statement again. Take external as well as internal environmental objects or situations in account, and then very important, do SWOT analysis. Also write SMART objectives of the goals. Are you familiar with SMART or not? Not sure. Okay, is it yes or no? No. Okay, so SMART stands. Okay, this is then important that you understand this. SMART stands for specific, also measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. So table 4.2, this is where the SMART principles are. Specific, so here you have to have an objective that should be well defined and specific what you want to achieve. Measurable, it must be able to measure, so that they must be quantifiable. So there must be some form of measure regarding that. Achievable. Obviously, this must be realistic and within the capacity of the organization. And then the next one is realistic or relevant. This is where you must address what the business does, so that they should be delivered from the business mission as well as vision that you want to achieve. Time bound, as I said, must always be linked to a time frame. Okay, so once you have established your SMART goals, you do the following. You prioritize, just get my, first, these then, we've discussed that just now. Okay, let's just go back one. Okay, so you have to prioritize your objectives, write down your goals or objectives, make sure that you coordinate your goals across all departments. This is on page 86 now, no? And then break your long-term objectives into short-term or more achievable goals. Monitor the progress. That is why you need a time frame, because every time when you achieve the short-term goal, that is then part of evaluation or then monitoring. Be flexible. So anything that is unpredictable externally might have an effect on your objectives. Then all stakeholders need to be to feel comfortable with the set of the goals. That needs to be acceptance or have is acceptance around that. Okay, so that must be part of that. Okay, next one then is then unit 4.2. This is where we have business level planning. This is where we include various functions. This is important to do through planning so that your idea can become viable. First one here, financial function. This is then where you have the responsibility for obtaining funds. That could be your own or borrowed, buying assets, controlling income and expenses, and then ensure that the business has a healthy cash flow, which is very important here. Okay, so the financial plan is also the assessment of a business current and future financial situation. So the financial manager will then use the current situation to predict future cash flow and also determine the financial position. And this will all be set in the statement of profit and loss. This is important when you apply for any loans at any financial institution where they will definitely look at your assets. Okay, so documents, financial documentation, this is page 987, statement of financial position. This is where you include the assets, the belongings of the business, that is non-current assets, land and buildings, vehicles, equipment, and current assets, which is then the trading inventory or then stock, also trade receivables and cash. Then your owner's equity, this is money contributing by the owner, also profit that has been generated, and drawings, that is part of that. Liabilities, money the business owes, also your non-current liabilities, loans, and your current liabilities, which is bank overdraft and trade payables. Then the statement of profit or loss. We've done that in N4, the same with cash flow statement. So the statement of profit and loss is just records the income and the expenses of your business. Cash flow statement will just show which money is going into the business and what is going out of the business. There is a reminder there on the QR scan code that you can just go through as well. And then remember at the back of your textbooks, we also have the green pages that includes all of these additional information from your N4 book. Or as I said, just make sure or just revise in your N4 textbook as well. Okay, so the next one that we're looking at, the next element then of the financial plan is then on page 88, which is the break-even analysis, where you reach a point where your income equals your expenditure. Okay, so this one we've also done in N4, financial requirements, the startup cost of the business, or the money that the business needs to grow or expand. So here we will have financing to be obtained from owner capital or then borrowed money. Financial analysis of security guarantees the business offers to assure financial institutions that it can repay the money that they borrowed, which is very important. So here you will look at the business that will do a ratio analysis to determine their liquidity, also solvability, and also profitability. Okay, then budgets, financial plan for a defined period. And here we look at sales budgets, advertisement budgets, also cash budgets, which is all part of N4. Okay, next up we have our marketing on page 89. What is that? Is where you are responsible for using the marketing mix, which then includes the 4 Ps, which is product, price, place, and promotion. And this is then to reach a chosen target market. So the nature of the marketing plan is then, or planning, is then to obtain new customers, strengthening the relationships with the current customers and clients, and also increase sales, providing retention, increasing brand awareness. So what are the objectives of a marketing plan? Increase brand awareness, obtain new customers, become a recognized leader in your field or market, increase customer values to obtain goodwill because your business is better than your competitors, and also grow social media preferences. Okay, we go on to page 90. So here we're looking at planning activities for the marketing plan, creating the marketing objectives. So this is where you have measurable goals that outline what the end results of your marketing strategy should be. For example, increase brand awareness, obtaining new customers, also getting recognition as a leader in the field or the market, increase the customer's value, and then grow social media presence. Then doing market research. This involves gathering information about your potential customers, and then we look at deciding on the market mix. The first one is the product. Give a detailed description of the product, also a product that can be durable or non-durable, if you can still remember that, tangible or intangible, which is service-based, and then the description of it, what the product does, the kind of product, where does it fall under which category? Is it industrial, meaning raw material that you will have an end product that is manufactured? Consumer services, also how the product works, the benefits of the product for the consumer, how the product solves any problems. And there are nice rings that will be the end product of any gold or silver or whatever, the diamonds, whatever you want to identify there. Then I'm deciding the market mix regarding the price. This is where the business needs to sell the product at the correct price to make a profit. Now, the description of your pricing technique that you use will determine the selling price in the market. If you can still remember the cost price method, the odd price, skimming, penetration, leader price, discounts, competitive pricing, that is all then part of that. Module N4 as well. Module 6 in N4. So the next P is in promotion on page 91. And this involves communication with your consumers to make them aware of your product and also encourage them to buy the product. Describe the methods that you will use and include, and then the most important questions that you will ask is which medium you will use. Can you still remember that whole list that we have? Which ones you will then include that will be the best to use for your specific target market. Would it be television, social media, whatever the situation is? Then the last P, which is then place. Refer to the location of the business, where it is located. Obviously, this will be the best area and close to your target market as well. Or nowadays, with the deliveries, it can be anywhere. Okay, define the target market. This is where you look at the possible customers of your product or service, explain how you decided on the particular target market, and also include a description of your analysis of your target market, what the results of these analyses were. Methods of the market segmentation, that includes the behavioral, psychological, demographic, and also geographic segmentation. Just go through that in your N4 textbook again, module 3. Defining the components. This is where you explain how you establish who your competitors are and what you believe is your competitive advantage. As I always say, your competitive advantage should be your greatest competitor's weakness. Then you have a winning situation. Okay, then next, do the SWOT analysis, always a SWOT analysis, so that you can identify your strengths and weaknesses, which is inside the business that you can always work on. Explain how you plan to eliminate the weaknesses and also make the most of your strengths and opportunities. And then try to reduce any threats in your business. Establish a market share and opportunities. And this is where you show how you estimate the size of the market for the product and services that you plan to offer. The calculations, which is also in module 3, just go through that as well. Drafting a marketing budget. Marketing budget shows the amount of money that you can spend, that you plan to spend on a specific period of marketing activities like advertising and developing the new strategies. Also module 6 in your N4 book. Production, operational managers, management. That is something new on page 93. So the production function designs and controls operations in the conversion of inputs, that is the production factors, to have an output, which is the goods to be sold or the end product. The nature of the product planning, selecting the product, determining the processes and equipment that you might need, also planning production capacity, identify inventory requirements, and then scheduling production activities, controlling operations. Very important, personnel, and that is the function of them. That is of all human resource related functions like employee recruitment, selection, appointment, training and development, and also compensation, salaries, or remuneration, or any other benefits that can be added to their salaries, with the aim of reaching the objectives of the business. So this is all part of planning. So the nature of the personnel planning, determine what the business's future labor needs might be, planning them, and then also develop strategies to recruit staff, establish a selection process, and also then setting up training and developing program, doing performance appraisals. Do you know what performance appraisal is? Performance appraisal is where you actually have to tell and score yourself first on certain aspects within your job description. So according to that, we normally do a yearly performance appraisal where we actually, with us, we do a lesson where we have 2 people then scoring us for whatever we are then lecturing. Okay, so according to that, you're supposed to then get an increase or get extra training should that be the situation. Okay, so the next one, compiling a compensation policy. That must always be in place as well, should it be needed by the Labour department. All right, so we are moving on to managerial decisions. That is on page 94. The types of decisions that we're going to look at. Obviously, you must make the right decisions as a manager, and that is very challenging, whether it is now on a personal level or business-wise. You mainly made these decisions if you are a manager in a business. It is then increasingly important to have more participative management style and to obtain an input of your employees before you're making the decision, which is always a good idea. Ask the employees to input for the input about the decision, and then employees feel part of the decision, and then they are more willing to participate. Inclusive. The process of choosing the most logistical option from all possible options is in the decision making, and the process is to weigh up positive and negative options and then consider all alternatives and determine which options is the best for the outcome that you want. Types of decisions. All managers are actually making decisions, as we said, top, middle, and lower level management, and they need to make different types of decisions. So, pardon? Room 13? I couldn't hear that. Room 13, what is going on there?
What the accident, ma'am?
Are you making such a noise in the class?
Oh, ma'am.
Guys, please, you are in fives. You need a babysitter. Okay, sorry for the interruption then. So the types of decisions, short, medium, and long-term decisions. So depending on which level, as we said, decisions that are simple or routine, also complex decisions that should be made to maybe expand a business or personnel or anything in that line. So the types of decisions that we're looking at is strategic decision that will be done by top management, and this is mostly long-term decisions. Tactical decisions, that is mostly done by middle level management, and that is also medium term. And then operational decisions, which is then lower level management. That is your short-term or day-to-day decisions that needs to be made. Decision-making styles. So next thing we're going to look at. We've got 3 here where we have centralized, decentralized, and participative. Okay, so choose the one that's the best for your specific situation that will give you the desired outcome and involve the staff members as well. Page 96, central decision making. This is mostly top management that makes these decisions. Sometimes it is seen as authoritative or autocratic because the employees have no consultation or input in that. They're normally done to determine long-term future of an organization, and it slows down decision making. because it comes from top management. Okay, so examples, should the business expand? Should the business open franchise? Or then also where the business should be located? Decentralized decision making, middle and lower level management make decisions. This is done through delegation. It's normally done according to function, so whichever department it is. Then the functional manager have expert knowledge in a particular field, and this speeds up decision making because it doesn't take that long. It's not that many people who are part of this. Participative decision making, all management levels and employees have this make decisions. They also refer to the consultative management, and they may obtain better cooperation from employees if they have been a part of the decisions. And this is where you will look at questions like, should we extend our business hours? Should we all wear corporate clothes or anything in that line? Okay, so let us do activity 4.9 quickly. It is just 6 questions. You just write A, B, C, D, E, or F. Give you 5 minutes. Okay, guys, so let us mark this, please. So participative decision is then matches B, no? Made by all managers and employees. Centralized decision matches E, yes, E, sometimes seen as autocratic. Number 3, strategic decision. This one matches C, policy decision making for the long term. Number 4, decentralized decision. This one matches A, normally done according to function, for example, finance or marketing. Number 5, tactical decision. This one matches F, made by middle management. Room 13, mute yourself, thank you. And then the last one, number 6, that one, operational decisions. That one is then D, day-to-day decisions on the lower level. Thank you, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Please leave my classes neat, pushing the chairs, get the table straight. Class reps, please help me with this. Thank you, guys.